and good night. I hope everyone is doing well today. I hope everyone's feeling good. Today we are going to be talking about the Dust Devils Warbond. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Twitch stream, the Twitch VODs, whatever you're watching this on today. I stream on Twitch every day. I upload YouTube videos every day. Go and check that out. Hit 500 subs. I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon. But, goddamn, sorry, I had to stretch really quick. But today, what I wanted to talk about was the Dust Devils Warbond, the newest Warbond at the current date of release for this video. And I wanted to kind of just talk about a lot of the stuff in it. I wanted to talk about my feelings about it, my review, how I feel, would I recommend it, all that stuff. But yeah, let's get right into it, low-key. So starting out, we have the Federation's Blade helmet. Looks pretty cool. I like the visor. If you play Halo, looks like one of the fucking. It looks like the Evo helmet. Looks like that. Really fucking good. Looks beautiful. Amazing. Love the way the light looks on it. Absolutely gorgeous. Then we've got the Coyote. Possibly the best AR in the game currently. It's got good damage, really solid capacity, 45 rounds. Not a lot of recoil, really good fire rate. Incendiary fire, so it sets enemies on fire. Really good for basically everything. Even automatons. And automatons don't really, they aren't, bad against fire, but they aren't really good against it, you know? But the Coyote's really good against Illuminate and Terminids. It's pretty solid against automatons. Would I recommend it against automatons? Maybe not necessarily. Not necessarily because of the incendiary, but usually because marksman rifles are more recommended against those guys. At least in my opinion, I've used more marksman rifles against them for, obvious reasons, since a lot of them have heads that you can headshot, The player card. The camo, I'm going to talk about this maybe only right here, depending on, unless, I see something else. So, I don't necessarily have this unlocked. I don't have any of the camos unlocked, I don't believe. But that's purely just because of the fact that I don't know. I don't necessarily see a point in needing a Hellpod pattern. I'm not going to be going around I'm not going to be showing off my fucking Hellpod pattern. It's not bad. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like a desert camo. But I hope they do more camos, like digital camos and stuff like that in the game. But it's not a bad pattern. It's kind of cool, but it's eh. On to the first armor set of this Warbond on page 1. We have Federation's Blade. It's got the Desert Stormer armor passive. And this first set is 150 armor, which means it's heavy armor. 450 speed, 50 stamina regen. So it's got the lowest stamina and the lowest speed in the game, at least from what I know. So if you like heavy armor, this is really good. Gives you a 40% resistance to fire, gas, acid, and electrical, as well as the 20% throwing range. Ugh, sorry. Now, what I'd recommend this for is Terminids. Because a lot of the time, especially if you're in a 4-man, or if you're playing with a few other people, like 1, 2, 3, maybe, what I would recommend here is probably using this against Terminids. Because if you bring a lot of fire, if you bring a lot of gas, the acid, I believe, from the Terminids is a lot less. The fire damage from the Dragon Roach is a lot less. Shit like that. The fire and the gas are really good counters to the Terminids. And so, using that against the Terminids is really helpful. And since this armor gives you a 40% resistance to all of that, it's really helpful for that. Throwing range increase, which is another passive from a few other armor sets. But on this is pretty solid. It makes you throw, throwables or stratagems extra far. Pretty solid. On to the next page, page 2. First thing on here is a support weapon. We've got the spear gun. Now, my thoughts about the spear gun are, It's amazing against Terminids. It's amazing against the Illuminate. I think this is probably one of the best support weapons against the Terminids. It closes bug holes immediately. You shoot it once, boom, closed. Has 12 ammo if you don't bring the what is it called? What is it called? What is it called? Siege ready. Siege ready. If you don't bring siege ready armor, has 12. If you bring the siege ready, I think it has 15. I think that's exactly how that works. Not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. But it is really, really solid. Does a decent amount of just chunk damage, and then the gas damage over time is amazing. It can distract Terminids really easily. It can distract fucking everything. It's amazing against flesh mobs, not necessarily because of the damage, but purely because the gas that it leaves behind is so good for distracting them and making them get so confused. It's absolutely beautiful. Love this gun. This is probably one of my favorite support weapons in the game. It's top 5 for me. So, yeah, I would 1000% recommend this to anyone who likes gas damage and to anyone who likes, you know, that sort of thing. Sorry, had a yawn. I would also recommend this for people who love to play against Terminids, because this is probably one of the best support weapons against the Terminids. Onto the helmet for this armor set. The DS191 Scorpion. Now, here's the thing about the Scorpion helmet. I think it looks kind of cool. Kind of looks sort of similar to a few Halo helmets I've seen, but I don't know. It looks pretty nice. The little like mouth thing, kind of cool, but it's not a lot that I like about it. It's just black and gray, so not a lot of interesting colors or anything. Doesn't necessarily fit with the armor set, which is sand colored. It's got some digi camo, not digi camo. It looks fuck. It's like sand camo, like basically desert camo, shit like that. So really cool armor set, but the Scorpion helmet doesn't really fit with the armor. It doesn't fit with any of the patterns really. It's kind of just black and gray. Kind of what you'd expect from a fucking Helldiver armor set. Helmet, I mean. But doesn't fit with its armor set. It doesn't really fit with the Dust Devil's warbond. So kind of odd there. Now we move on to the Scorpion armor. This is some pretty cool armor, in my opinion. It's medium. It's the medium set of the heavy, where it's got the 40% resistance and the 20% throwing range. Sorry. It's got 100 armor rating, 500, 100. Pretty decent stats. I like medium armor. I like medium and light armor personally, so this is something I'd run a lot more than the heavy armor, but especially if you're trying to go against the Terminids, I would, to be honest, probably recommend the heavy armor purely because that extra armor rating gives you a lot of assistance. That helps you out a lot. Now, yes, it does mean you're going to be slower against the Terminids, which does mean, you're going to get caught up to a lot, but that extra resistance and that extra health to tank, fire roach damage or dragon roach damage or anything like that, really helpful. And since you have the resistance to the fire and stuff, it makes you feel like a fucking tank. So yeah, I would probably recommend the heavy armor set to a lot of people, but if you like medium armor and you want some of these passives, like the, resistance, and you want the throwing range along with it, pretty solid. On to the expendable napalm. Now, this support weapon is something to me. I've got some really interesting opinions on it. The immediate impact damage, I love. I love how much damage it does. I'm glad that it doesn't necessarily like one shot a lot of things, like necessarily tanky things, but the fire damage afterwards, it's exactly like the spear gun in a sort of way, because it doesn't necessarily one shot a lot of stuff, but it can do so much damage afterwards as well that it can end up killing a lot of things. I'm pretty sure it's pretty solid against flesh mobs. It's really good against Illumina, I will say. Especially when you're in certain cities. If you can get a lot of voteless and a lot of overseers grouped up, not the flag ones, the flag ones fucking suck. If you get them all grouped up, it's a low-key amazing. Absolutely fucking beautiful. It does so much fucking damage. It clears groups so easily. It's lovely. It's beautiful. Also, it's kind of like the airburst rocket launcher in a way. Like, from what I've seen, you can hit like a wall with it, and it'll launch out the expendable napalm, like the actual napalm from it, to a different area. It'll like drop down, so you can do some pretty cool shots with that if you don't necessarily want the impact damage. Now, onto page 3. First thing here, we have a stratagem, Solo Silo. The Solo Silo is cool. They've nerfed it a decent amount, so it can get rid of certain objectives and certain things. But the amount of damage it can do is lovely. Pretty sure it still one-taps Bile Titans, or it gets close to, something like that. But it does a shitload of damage. It feels like it's a little bit bigger than the 500 kg. So if you're trying to clear out groups with a big ass fucking explosive, I'd probably recommend the portable hell bomb, to be honest. But if you want something you can launch from a range and something you can do a lot of damage with from a range, this is your thing. This is what you'd want. Really solid. Does a metric fuck ton of damage. Can destroy a lot of objectives. Pretty sure it destroys stratagem jammers if you can hit them right. I'm not sure about that. You'd have to check. But I'm pretty sure it does. Really good. Really fun to use. Cooldown time is 162 seconds, so it can be a bit of an issue with how long it takes to get back, but I personally don't think the cooldown time is too bad, and I think that the stratagem itself is really solid. Lots of damage, lots of usability. We've got an emote here. Fucking Raiders cheer. I'm pretty sure that's a Star Wars reference. But, oh, kind of goofy. Pretty cool. On to the throwable. The G7 Pineapple. Light armor pen, explosive, 300 damage, 3 pen. Here's the thing. The Pineapple is alright. I don't think it's necessarily great. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It's low-key hella fucking mid. It doesn't do what you'd want it to. Because this is a grenade that you'd want to use to like clear out certain groups and some shit like that. And it doesn't really do that all too well. Its explosion radius is not big enough to do that. And the little fucking grenades it sends out do not do that well enough either. If you want a grenade for super credit farming or something like this, this is the one I'd recommend. But other than that, it's kind of eh. It can be useful if you throw it in a bug hole or in a fabricator or something like that, because it can send its little explosives either inside of it to blow it up, or it can send its little explosives outside of it while you're throwing the pineapple into the bug hole or the fabricator. And it can kill some enemies outside of it, so there's some pretty cool uses. There's some pretty funny things you can do with it, but for the most part, it's kind of eh. You know, it's not bad, but it's not really great. I'd recommend a lot of other things over this. But yeah, that's the Dust Devils Warbond, man. This Warbond is really iffy for me. Because it's really lacking in weapons. It's got the AR, obviously, probably the best AR in the game. Then it's got 3 stratagems, man. And they're all good stratagems, don't get me wrong. But it's 3. There's one singular gun in here, and then 1 grenade. Also, all of the stratagems are support-based things. Like, they're all, technically speaking, support weapons. That means that is 3 different support weapons in one warbond. There's not a single other thing in here. And I don't really mind that, but I also don't really like that. They're all amazing support weapons. AR is the best AR in the game, probably. in my opinion at least, and from what I've seen, a lot of other opinions. The G7 Pineapple's alright. It can be useful, especially against armored fabricators. That is one thing I forgot to mention. Armored fabricators, or like the reinforced ones, whatever, the big fuckers. This is probably one of the best grenades against it, because the little pineapple, explosives that it sends out afterwards can go into it really fucking easily. So if you miss the actual hole with the regular grenade, then, the little pineapple things will usually get it for you. But I don't know. This is some of the best and most OP things in the game, but at the same time, I feel like it's not good enough. Now, I'm not saying it is bad, but it kind of feels like it focuses on one thing entirely, and then it just doesn't necessarily do like the best at that. It's like trying to be a jack of all trades while not necessarily being good at any of those trades. It's like okay at all of them. Like it's got the best AR. It's got the two of the best, like three of the best support weapons, I guess. But they all do such different things. Solo Silo is really useful for like blowing shit up. For like blowing up, stratagem jammers or like propaganda towers or some shit like that. Like stupid shit. Things like objective wise that you'd want to blow up. It's good for that, but that's really it. It can do a lot of group damage, sure, but that's if you can get them in a group, and that's if it can land in time. Which sometimes it can't, and a lot of the times with the AI, they'll end up dispersing in certain ways that makes it really hard for them to properly, follow your path. So, it's kind of iffy. The expendable napalm is really good for clearing groups. It's lovely for clearing groups. But it suffers from the fact that it's just not like great at taking out a decent amount of enemies, which you'd want from an expendable. It can do so many things, but at the same time it feels so It doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does a decent amount of damage, and it's just kind of whatever. Spear gun is great for like sort of single target things sometimes, but it's also good for like group damage. It's good for a lot of other things. It's good for the gas damage that it leaves behind. It's good for distraction. It's good for running. This is probably the best thing in this warbond, in my opinion, is the spear gun. Spear gun just does so much fucking damage, and the gas left behind too just does so much fucking damage, and it lingers for so long, and it gets on so many enemies. It's fucking beautiful. I love this fucking stratagem. This is probably the one thing in this whole entire warbond that I genuinely think is like the carrier of this. I know a lot of people love the coyote because it's a good AR, but in my opinion, I think the spear gun is like the best thing out of this warbond. And onto the coyote. It's amazing. It's the best AR in the game, but there's so many other weapons in different weapon classes that do outclass this that it kind of makes me want to put it down a little bit more, purely because of the fact that it's like, it's great. It's really solid. It does a decent amount of damage. It does pretty good against every faction, but it's not really amazing. Like, it's not outstanding. It's just an incendiary AR with medium pen. And the only reason it's good is because every other AR is just horrible. It's like, I don't know. Liberator Penetrator is fucking horrendous. No damage. The regular Liberator is light pen. So, has that issue. There's so many things that this gun outclasses other guns in. It's kind of odd. Like, it shows how poor the assault rifle class has been treated. And shows how badly a decent amount of those guns need buffs. And the last thing is the armor. The armor is fine. This is the main thing why I said, it's a jack of all trades warbond. But it's not really good at any of those things. Is mostly because of this armor, because that's what this armor is trying to be. Gives you the 40% resistance to all of these other things. Which are all nice, don't get me wrong. But a decent amount of the time, I'd want to just run the, 80% that you get from the fucking chemical agents warbond, so I don't get, or the 90%. I don't remember exactly what it is. Resistance to gas and fucking acid damage, whatever it is. Boom. Billion times better. If I wanted to run against Terminids, I would do that, and I would just run a full gas build. If I wanted the fire damage, I would take the 75% or the 80%, whatever it's fucking is, armor. Then boom. I could just run a full fire build. You don't have to split around your builds here to try to do certain things. And the electrical damage is like, alright. Like, I'm pretty sure a Tesla tower will still like one-shot you, but and it's kind of cool. I think it makes it so you don't get one-shotted by arc thrower, like reflections off of your teammates or some shit, but like that. But it's like about it. It's all right, but it's not really great. It's got a lot of issues and a lot of these things, and like there's no light armor set. I feel like a light armor set would really benefit from this, because that's the type of armor set you'd want a decent amount of these things to be resistant against. Since you're going to have a lot less health, you're going to want to have a lot more variation, especially if you're running a 4-man, because light armor means that you're going to be taking a lot more damage, and you're going to be a lot more, killable. So if you have a full team running just random shit like fire stuff and gas and acid and fucking Tesla tower, such like that, you're still going to want to have the light armor, but you might want this armor set because of the resistances. Because you might see, hey, one dude's running a napalm barrage, one dude's running a fucking expendable napalm, one dude's running a spear gun, one dude's running a fucking gas strike. You see all this shit and you're like, okay, we're also running against Terminids, so I need that acid resistance, but I still want to run my light armor. Boom. That would have been perfect. But instead they make it heavy and medium, which isn't bad. I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I like medium armor. I'm pretty well versed with heavy armor too, but I feel like there's a bit too many issues with this, and especially since it's only medium and heavy armor that are in the set, kind of drags it down personally. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, that's my review of this warbond. I'm pretty sure it's one of the better warbonds in the game. I'm not necessarily certain if it's the best yet, but it's really high up there. I think it's top 3, top 5, 1000%. Anyways, if you guys like this video, like, subscribe. If you feel differently about this warbond, or if you want to call me a fucking idiot and tell me how exactly I'm so wrong, tell me in the comments down below. But anyways, till the next time, chat. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.